All right, let's discuss this BDM set, which was about Niyabuddin and his food center. It says, during the floods of 2018-2019, a group of philanthropists led by Niyabuddin wished to open free food center for the needy. All right, that's good. This was during the floods of 2018-2019 and led by Niyabuddin. They wanted to open a free food center for the needy. Their motto was that no human should be hungry. Okay, that's really good. Nothing gives more satisfaction to the philanthropists than to see the hungry eat to the fullest. All right, so this is good background information, and this is talking about the time during the floods of 1890. Let's continue. Post COVID-19, the group started a food center by the name Win-Born Life Care Food, WBLCF. Now this is post COVID-19, so a different time. The group started a food center, and this was the name and the acronym, in a small town called Palakkad. Okay. The center started gaining popularity as the number of people enjoying free meals increased over time. All right. So they're providing free meals here as well in this food center as well. Initially, WBLCF offered a standardized menu consisting of idli, upma, putta for breakfast, curd rice for lunch, and idli or upma for supper. So there was a standardized menu initially, right? 6 women were employed by WBLCF to prepare all the meals. As the number of diners increased, they started expecting a variety in the menu. All right, so initially they provided a standardized menu, and it was a popular food center. As it says, the center started gaining popularity. And as the number of diners increased, the diners started expecting a variety in the menu. And these are free meals. All right. Now, it's a very long set. In BDM, it's very important to capture details in the set. Okay. BDM will always have nuances or fine details in the set. So it's very important to capture it. Okay. Here, of course, I'm underlining. In the exam, you should be noting it down. In your notepad, note down the important details. And don't hesitate to read the set twice. All right. At WBLCF, not all the diners eat free. Okay, this is interesting. Till now we have seen that it was a free food center, but now they're saying not all the diners eat free. While 2/3 of diners get free food, 1/3 would donate some amount to a transparent charity box kept at the entrance. Very interesting. So 2/3 eat free, 1/3 donate. Okay, some amount to a transparent charity box. It's mentioned as transparent. Maybe it has some significance in the question, but it's important to catch such details. So it's transparent. So if you're donating, whether you're donating 1 rupee or 100 rupee or 1,000 rupees, it's transparent, right? For example, a man donated rupees 500 after consuming 2 idlis, and a woman approached Niyabuddin and inquired about donating 10 kilograms of rice. So people can donate whatever they want. It's voluntary donation. And typically 1/3 would donate some amount in different amounts. They've given an example of a person who's donated rupees 500, and a woman also approached to donate 10 kilograms of rice. So it's not just money that they're donating. Those who could not afford to donate were often seen prostrating worshipfully in front of the charity box, okay, as their gratitude. Now, let's continue. Some caring individuals made monetary donation, okay, while others donated rice, fruits, and vegetables to WBLCF, similar to the woman who requested that she wanted to donate 10 kilograms of rice. So people are not just donating money, they're also donating food or rice, fruits, and vegetables. Further, the center received inquiries from many locals on how they could contribute to the cause. All right, so locals are also interested in contributing to the cause in different forms. Right, so people out of gratitude, they're willing to help the food center, and they've contacted to find out how they could contribute to the cause, which is a good thing. As the center was lauded for its philanthropic work by people of the town, Niyabuddin intended to replicate the initiative in the nearby districts. So now he wants to expand. He wants to have the same food center running in different districts, which is good. However, okay, here comes the problem. He's concerned about the cost that goes into running the center, right? Obviously, the center would need a high cost to run, right? There are so many things happening. The food is free, the center maintenance. There'll be so many things. So Niyabuddin, while he wants to expand and he wants to replicate this initiative, he's concerned about the cost. All right. Almost 75% of the donated amount goes into buying the cooking ingredients, right? While the rest goes into paying salaries, operations, and maintenance costs. Numbers are important, typically in BDM sets, especially if they're business-oriented set. This is not a business set, but still numbers are important. It says 75% of the cost, okay, goes into ingredients, buying ingredients. So the major cost is that. Of course, they're giving free food. The ingredients are going to cost, and 75% of the donation goes into getting the cooking ingredients. 25% is overhead. So it's salaries, okay? Then it's operations overhead and maintenance of the food center. Pardon my writing, but that's the split. All right? Okay, now long said, don't hesitate to read it twice. Make sure to take notes and capture important details. I've already underlined them, but just to recap, right? So post COVID-19, this food center was opened. It's gaining popularity. There was a standardized menu. People are now expecting a variety as the number of diners have increased. What's interesting about this food center is that not everyone eats for free. Typically, 2/3 they get free food, 1/3 they donate voluntarily. Now they can donate, they donate in terms of money. They also donate in terms of rice, fruits, and vegetables. Additionally, they've received inquiries from locals on how they can contribute to the cost, the locals out of gratitude. Now, this is great. Everything is great, doing great. Now, the center has also been lauded for their philanthropic charitable efforts. Niyabuddin is now thinking of expanding into other districts, but his concern is cost that goes into running the center. And then, of course, there is a split. 75% of the donation that they receive goes into ingredients, goes into sourcing ingredients. 25% of the donation goes into paying salaries, operations, and maintenance costs. All right. So yeah, that's the set. Again, as I said, you should be taking notes. Now we'll go to the questions. Now, when you're solving questions, don't hesitate to come back to the set because there are so many nuances. If you miss nuances, find details in BDM, then your answers can go wrong. So it's as we do in, as I always say for VRC, right? When you're solving questions, feel free to come back to the passage. Here, feel free to come back to the set and keep connecting the question and options to relevant nuances in the set. All right? Okay, let's look at question 1. Now, what does it say? From the following, choose the most important challenge that Niyabuddin has to overcome to sustain WBLCF. In BDM, it's very important to understand the question, rephrase the question to yourself, and make sure that the option that you're selecting is answering the question. Okay, there can be a lot of feel-good options, but you have to ask yourself, is it answering the question? So the first step is understand what the question is asking. The question is saying, choose the most important challenge that Niyabuddin has to overcome to sustain WBLCF. Okay, sustain WBLCF means continue WBLCF in the long term, right? Make sure it continues, make sure it sustains in future, right? It's a free food center. Okay, so what is the most important challenge that Niyabuddin will have to overcome, will have to address to make sure WBLCF can continue in the long run? That's what the question is asking. So understand what the question is asking, rephrase it to yourself, make sure to choose an option that answers that question. Now, before we even begin looking at the options, right? From the set, tell me, we just read the set. Is the set talking about a challenge that Niyabuddin is facing? Ask yourself. It's clearly mentioned, right? In the last paragraph, it clearly mentions that Niyabuddin wants to replicate, but the challenge that Niyabuddin is facing right now is he's concerned, not challenge, well, it says concerned about the cost that goes into running the center. He's concerned about the cost, right? So it kind of tells you what's his main challenge right now. His main challenge right now seems to be cost. Okay, this is something that can strike you even before you look at the options based on what you've read in the set. He's definitely concerned about cost. All right, now let's look at the option and let's pick the most important challenge that Niyabuddin will have to overcome to sustain WBLCF. Paying salaries to employees. Yeah. Yes, this is connected to the cost part, right? The cost part did include 70% of cost into ingredients, 25% into salaries, operations, and maintenance. So paying salaries to employees is a concern, or is part of a concern, right? Think about it. This is not his only concern, but it's definitely part of a concern that's mentioned in the set. So we're going to park this. All right. Attracting enough diners. Now ask yourself, is this a concern? No. The center is gaining popularity. You can go back and check. The center is gaining popularity. It's being lauded. He's even thinking of replicating it to other districts. Attracting enough diners is not a concern or a challenge that he will have to overcome to sustain WBLCF. He has enough people who are coming there to eat free food. Preparing only local dishes for diners. Is this a challenge? Is there any sort of mention in the set or any implication in the set that Niyabuddin has a concern about this? They talk about the standardized menu, right? And they say that as the diners are increasing, they are expecting a variety in the menu. But this is not a challenge, right? Preparing only local dishes for diners is not a challenge. It's not implied anywhere in the set. Okay, so that's gone. Getting enough finances and donations. Very interesting. Now the concern that he has is cost. What is cost connected to? Cost is connected to finances, and cost is connected to donations. So obviously, his center is running on donations, right? The donations that he receives, 75 goes into ingredients, 25% goes into operational overhead. So getting enough finances and donations is closely connected to cost, which is Niyabuddin's concern. Okay, let's park this. Having enough cooks and employees. Where is this coming from? There is no implication in the set that manpower is becoming a concern. That he's not getting enough cooks or he's not getting enough employees. That's not mentioned anywhere. Paying salaries to employees is part of a concern, but getting enough cooks and employees or having enough cooks and employees is not implied anywhere. So this is cannot be your answer. It's not implied anywhere. Now, between 1 and 4, think about it. The question says, go back to the question, most important challenge, right? Both 1 and 4 are connected, but salaries is a subset of 4. His problem is cost of running the center. And the cost, of course, comes from is connected to different aspects. Cooking ingredients, salaries, operations, maintenance. So paying salaries to employees, 1 is actually a subset of 4. 4 is the broader concern or the most important challenge that Niyabuddin has. So that's why 4 is better than 1. And the answer is indeed 4. All right. Okay. This is a fairly straightforward question, specifically, for BDM. BDM questions can be tricky, but I would say this is a fairly straightforward question. If you carefully read the set, and if you carefully evaluate the options, you would have gotten stuck between 1 and 4. If you were able to break the tie by understanding that 1 is a subset of 4 and 4 is the broader concern or the most important challenge, then you would get it correct. Okay, so of course, the general, the strategy, evaluate the options carefully, break the tie carefully. All right. Okay, let's go to question 2. It's a longer one. Let's see. Niyabuddin realized that on some days the food was wasted, while on other days diners went back hungry. Now this is a problem. This is a problem for a free food center, right? On some days the food is being wasted. On other days diners are going back hungry. Now diners going back hungry for a free food center which is run by philanthropists like Niyabuddin would be a problem for them. A philanthropist that's running a center for charity, right, wouldn't want their diners to go back hungry. Wouldn't want food to be wasted as well. But I think the primary concern here is diners are going back hungry, right? Food being wasted is also a concern, but they wouldn't want their diners to go back hungry. He sought advice from a consultant friend on how to reduce wastage. And this consultant friend would have created a PPT. I'm kidding. No hate for consultants. I'm just joking. He sought advice from a consultant friend on how to reduce wastage. Okay, so interesting. He's focusing on reducing wastage. All right. Okay. The consultant suggested the following. All right. Now let's look at that. See, there are 5 options here, and this is what we call a combination question. Okay, multiple points are there. Now, in these questions, what you should do is read the introduction, as we've just done. Now, before reading the points, read the question. Understand what the question is asking, then come back to the points. So what happens is when you know what the question is asking, you can evaluate the points accordingly. All right. Once again, read the intro, come to the question, then go to the points. All right. So let's read this again. They realized that on some days food was wasted, while on other days diners went back hungry. Both are problems. He sought advice from a consultant on how to reduce wastage. So that's what they're focusing on. And the consultant has given some suggestions. Which of the above ideas given by the consultant will not be consistent with the core ethos of WBLCF? Again, understand the question, rephrase this question in your head, and make sure you're answering the question and nothing else. Which of the above ideas will not be consistent with the core ethos of WBLCF? So first of all, you have to understand what is the core ethos of WBLCF. Let's go back to the set. What is the core ethos of WBLCF? Remember, it's a free food center, okay? And it's a center run by Niyabuddin. Now, when they ran the open free food center for the needy during the floods of 2018-2019, what was their motto? Their motto was, no human should be hungry. Okay? Nothing gives more satisfaction to the philanthropist than to see the hungry eat to the fullest. This is important information for this question. This is the ethos. Now, of course, you may say that, oh no, this was about the center during the floods of 2018-19. Agreed, but free food center, they're very similar, no? They're both free food centers. So the ethos will remain the same. The ethos for WBLCF will also remain the same. The motto that the philanthropists have is no human should be hungry. Okay. And nothing gives them more satisfaction than to see hungry eat to the fullest. Right? Like, you know, they come to the center, their tummy should be full, right? That gives them a lot of satisfaction. And also the name is Winborn Life Care Food. All right, that's fine. But the ethos has been highlighted here or has been emphasized here. So keep that in mind. Okay. Again, that's what I'm saying. It's very important to connect to relevant nuances for the question. So please come back to the set and see if there are relevant nuances. Let's go back. All right. Which of the above ideas will not be consistent with the core ethos of WBLCF? WBLCF. Okay, I keep mispronouncing that. Let's look at the points and now let's evaluate. Okay. Okay, let's evaluate the points now one by one. The first one says launch a mobile app so that diners can pre-inform their arrival to WBLCF. Now, remember, these ideas are for reducing wastage. Okay. But the main part of the question is which of the above ideas will not be consistent with the core ethos of WBLCF? Keep the question in mind because obviously we have to answer that. As I said in BDM, that's very important. Now, at this point, the first one, launching a mobile app so that diners can pre-inform their arrival, does it go against the ethos of WBLCF? No. The ethos of WBLCF is that nobody should go hungry. People should eat to the fullest. It's all focused on that. It's a free food center. If they're launching a mobile app so that diners can pre-inform their arrival, they're doing that to reduce wastage. Now, some of you may think that, oh, you know, these people are probably poor and needy. Maybe they don't own mobile phones. Maybe they don't know how to operate a mobile phone. But that doesn't go against the ethos of WBLCF, right? The option doesn't say that they have to do this. The option is not saying that, okay, a diner that doesn't pre-inform their arrival will not allow entry or will not be given food. The option is not saying that. The option is simply saying launch a mobile app so that diners can pre-inform their arrival. So this is not inconsistent with their thoughts. This is not restricting diners in any way. But this is helping them to reduce wastage. Great. All right, so don't stretch it. It doesn't say ban entry or don't allow entry for people that they're not informing. It's just giving an option. This is not inconsistent at all with the core ethos of WBLCF. So this is okay. All right. Okay, we're looking for not consistent. So this is gone. I'm going to put a cross because we're looking for not consistent. Ask diners who enjoy free meal to distribute excess food to hungry on streets. The diners who are enjoying free meal, they are asking them to distribute the excess food to hungry on the streets. This is a good option. This actually is in line with the core ethos of WBLCF, right? It's all about feeding the hungry. So they're requesting diners, they're asking them that you're enjoying a free meal. If there's excess food, please donate it to the hungry on the street so that it doesn't go waste. This is not against the ethos. Again, focus on the question. It is not against the ethos, and it is not something which is inconsistent with the core ethos of WBLCF. In fact, it's in line with the ethos. So this is not an answer. Okay, remember we're looking for not consistent with the core ethos of WBLCF. All right. In these kind of questions, it's best to eliminate first and then look at the remaining options. Right? So 1 and 2 is gone now. And we're 100% sure that 1 and 2 is not inconsistent with the core ethos. So if you're 100% sure, you've removed 1 and 2, now look at the combination options and see if you've already arrived at the answer. Sometimes it happens. Now 1 and 2 is gone. Okay. A has 2, so A has gone. B has 1 and 2, B is gone. C has 2, C is gone. D has 1, D is gone. E has 3, 4, and 5. So maybe this is your answer already. Now, again, I'm saying because we're 100% sure in this case. Of course, now we will evaluate 3, 4, and 5 and 3, 4, and 5 to confirm. But we're most likely we've arrived at our answer. Okay. So let's see if 3, 4, and 5 are not consistent or inconsistent with the core ethos of WBLCF. Ask diners to eat less as it is good for health. You're restricting their food. This option, if you implement, you're restricting the food intake of these people who are there for free food. Remember, the ethos is that nobody should go hungry. And there's also a point where it says philanthropists, nothing gives more satisfaction to the philanthropist than to see the hungry eat to the fullest. So restricting food, okay, is not going to be okay. I understand it says ask diners to eat less as it is good for health, but people are coming there for free food. They're likely poor and needy. You're telling poor and needy people that eat less because it's good for health. Why? Because you want to reduce wastage. It doesn't make sense. This is against the core ethos of WBLCF. So 3 is correct. Preach people to eat less. Absolutely against. People are coming to eat free food. Again, they're likely poor and needy and hungry. You can't preach them to eat less. This is against the ethos of WBLCF. Ration amount of food to be served to the diners. Remember the line about eat to the fullest? Again, you're restricting food. And you're restricting food for people who are hungry and needy. That goes against the ethos. And hence, the answer is 3, 4, and 5. All right. So we eliminated first because we were 100% sure. We were able to arrive at an answer, and then we confirmed it fits. The answer is indeed 3, 4, and 5. All right. Okay. Let's look at question 3. Niyabuddin wanted to conserve local recipes that can be used to prepare mouth-smacking dishes for the diners. Okay. So Niyabuddin wants to conserve local recipes. Okay. Conserve in the sense that you can say that, sort of protect them from getting wasted or damaged, protecting them in a way that Niyabuddin can use it in future again and again. This is all about providing free food, right? So he's focusing on local food that would appeal to the people of that location, or Palakkad, that's the location in question. He wants to conserve local recipes. All right. Okay. Which of the following could be the best way to conserve local recipes? Again, focus on the question. We are looking for the best way to conserve local recipes so that he can sort of store them, okay, and protect them and store them in a way so that it can be used in future and the recipes won't get damaged and the recipes would be protected. That's what conservation is, right? So which of the following could be the best way to conserve local recipes? We have to look for the best way. Keep that in mind. Number 1, tie up with the chef of the best restaurant in Palakkad to document recipes. All right. Tie up with the chef of the best restaurant in Palakkad. All right. Now, who is Niyabuddin serving? Niyabuddin is serving, he's giving free meals to the poor and needy, right? In his free food center. Does it align with contacting or tying up with the chef of the best restaurant? You have food center, a free food center on one side, and you have the best restaurant in Palakkad, which might just be an expensive restaurant. Possible. Does it align? It doesn't align, right? tying up with the chef to document recipes. He's requesting the chef to document recipes. Okay, what are the chances of a chef documenting recipes? Think about it. Okay, and again, you can also think about the cost part. Is this the best way, right? From a cost perspective, I mean, again, the chef can volunteer, but that's not mentioned. From the cost part, it doesn't make sense. It's kind of not aligned because we're talking about a restaurant versus, a free food center. And what are the chances of a chef wanting to document recipes? Okay. Also, I think most importantly, we are talking about local recipes. How do we know if the chef is competent in local recipes? Right? So there are too many sort of aspects that don't make sense here. So this is likely not your answer. Okay, but let's park it. We'll see if there is a better answer. All right. Hold a weekly competition for the best local dish and get it judged and documented by local volunteers. All right. So a weekly competition for the best local dish. Remember, he's focusing on local recipes. Now, if there is a weekly competition for the best local dish where people are competing and cooking their different dishes and local volunteers are judging it, that's a good thing, right? We are, after all, looking for local recipes. Local recipes will best come from the people there, right? The people in Palakkad. So they'll come, there's a weekly competition, that the best local dish, the best dish is judged by local volunteers who know about the local food. So you would get really good recipes out of this situation, right? Because it's about cooking the best local dish, and it's also the judges are also local volunteers. So this is a good thing, right? And it's also a volunteering initiative. Now, there was one line, again, nuance, right? In the set, if you remember, it says, further, the center received inquiries from many locals on how they could contribute to the cause. The locals are ready. The locals are ready to contribute to the cause in different ways. So if a concern came into your mind that, oh, how is this feasible? Because we're doing a weekly competition, we'll have to get volunteers to judge and document. People are ready. People are ready to contribute to the cause. So that was a concern that has been addressed. Okay, it's a good option. Between 1 and 2, definitely 2 is better, right? Because here the focus is on local dish, local volunteers, as opposed to a chef who may or may not know about local dishes. So 1 we can safely eliminate now. 2 is definitely better. We'll park it. Number 3, ask free diners to contribute towards one recipe for a dish and give them the responsibility to document it. Ask free diners, the people who are eating there for free, to contribute towards one recipe for a dish and give them the responsibility to document it. Now you're imposing a condition on diners, right? This is a free food center. You can come here, you eat food, you don't have to give anything in return. And they're likely needy, hungry, poor people. And you're asking them to contribute towards one recipe for a dish. What are the chances a person who's coming there to eat, right? What are the chances that they'll have one recipe, their own recipe for a dish? Maybe they don't cook at all. And give them the responsibility to document it as well. You're imposing a condition on these free diners. That's not okay. Right? This should be unconditional. The ethos is that we're feeding people for free. There shouldn't be conditions tied to it. So this is not the best way to conserve local recipes. And if you compare that with 2, definitely not. Okay, so we're eliminating this because we can't impose conditions, right? Okay. Request the lady once a week in Palakkad to cook food at WBLCF on voluntary basis. Okay, this is good. And document the recipe. So request the lady once a week in Palakkad. So every week we're requesting a lady to come to cook food for that week, okay, and document the recipes. All right, that seems like a good option, right? Because the lady would most likely be local, so she would know how to cook local food. All right, and there's a different lady every week, so you're sort of getting that sort of variety. And we're asking them to document the recipes as well. All right. So we'll park this. Okay. Tie up with one of the food delivery partners to help them document the recipes. Tie up with one of the food delivery partners, okay, like a Swiggy, Zomato or something, to help them document the recipes. We're asking food delivery partners to document recipes. That doesn't make sense, right? Their job is to deliver food. we're tying up with them, and then we're asking them to document recipes. Doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. It's not connected at all. So this we can eliminate. It's not making sense. Okay. Now we're left with 2 and 4. Now you have to compare. Now this question is a little tricky. All right. It's a little, you'll have to sort of think about it, put a lot of thought into differentiating between, not differentiating, but deciding what is better, whether 2 is better or 4 is better. All right. Now the tie is between 2 and 4. All right. Now let's evaluate them and let's see which is the best way to conserve local recipes. 2 says hold a weekly competition for the best local dish and get it judged by local volunteers. Now, if you look at the question, the crux here is the local part. He wants to conserve local recipes. So if you look at 2, if you're conducting a weekly competition for the best local dish, you would get good quality local dishes every week, or recipes for good quality local dishes every week. And you're also getting it judged by local volunteers. So there are 2 aspects. One, it's a competition. The competition will have many participants. And of course, they will try to do their best. So the chances of a good quality dish coming out of the competition is high. And also it's being judged and documented by local volunteers who know about the local food. So both the aspects, the local part here in option 2 is highlighted. Okay, and that's what we're looking for. And that's why this option is good. Okay. Whereas if we look at 4, it says request a lady once a week in Palakkad to cook food and document the recipes. The variety of local dishes and the quality of local dishes that will come out of 2 are higher than 4. Okay, which is why 2 is a better option, right? You would get better quality and you would get more variety in this case because you're holding a competition and several people are coming and cooking. Okay. Also in 4, if you look at the feasibility of this option, right? See, people are ready to volunteer, so that's great. But asking a lady once a week to cook food, not only cook, but also document the recipes, might be a little too much for one person to handle. Okay, so that's a secondary reason why 2 is better than 4. But the main reason for 2 being better than 4 is the local part is highlighted in 2, and the quality and variety of local dishes that you would get in 2 will be higher than 4. And hence, 2 is the right answer. The tricky question. So you'll have to put some thought in breaking the tie between 2 and 4. All right.